Hello, and welcome to our presentation, 10 Ways to Turbocharge Your Help Desk with Frank Santiago, IT Operations Manager. Today, we are going to talk about how the city of Boca Raton, Florida, leveraged BOSSDesk to improve their operations and become more efficient using our help desk software. We have almost 100 guests registered for this webinar, and we do appreciate your time, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Nicole Benjamin, and I'm the Digital Marketing Coordinator here at BOSS Solutions. During our presentation, we will be highlighting how you can use help desk software across your organization to improve processes like how to minimize user reluctance, how to enable quicker adoption by users, and how to improve efficiencies across your organization. At the end of the presentation, we will answer any questions submitted, and we're going to give away 2 Amazon gift cards. Our presenters today are Frank Santiago and Chris Kernkowski. Frank Santiago is the IT Operations Manager for the city of Boca Raton. He oversees the help desk and network analyst. Frank implemented BOSSDesk in October of 2017. He started his career in the technology side of IT and then moved into a senior business systems analyst role, supporting manufacturing operations. He then was hired by the city of Boca Raton as their IT operations manager and is now back to his technology roots. Our next presenter is Chris Kernkowski, Senior Support Engineer for BOSSDesk. Today, Chris will showcase areas of BOSSDesk which are relevant to the city of Boca Raton's success. We do have a few housekeeping notes before we get started. Everyone will be muted throughout the presentation. We encourage you to ask questions in the Q&A, and we will answer questions at the end of the presentation. The presentation today is being recorded, and we will email a link to all participants after the presentation. And because we value your feedback, you will receive a short survey after the presentation. If you would kindly respond with your comments, we would greatly appreciate it. BOSS Solutions at a glance. We have been in IT service management for over 25 years. We have received numerous awards and been recognized by leading authorities such as Gartner, Software Advice, Capterra, and many others in categories such as Top 20, Frontrunner, and Category Leader. Our offerings include BOSSDesk, a support and help desk solution which is available both on-premise and in the cloud. We also offer BOSS 811, a one-call ticket management solution for the damage prevention industry. BOSS Solutions is committed to exceeding industry standards with the latest technology. Additionally, we are committed to providing excellent customer support by providing a US-based support team. And without further delay, we will now begin to dive into today's webinar topic, 10 Ways to Turbocharge Your Help Desk. I'll now open the floor to Frank Santiago and allow him to begin to share his experiences from the city of Boca Raton with us.
Thank you, Nicole, and thanks to BOSS for allowing me to present to everyone today and share some ideas about how I utilize the BOSSDesk system. So the quick notes about the city of Boca Raton. It's a council manager form of government. It was incorporated in 1925. It has an area of about 30 square miles and a population of about 93,000 people. There are 46 parks, 4 miles of public beaches, 8 fire stations, 2 libraries, and 3 universities. There are approximately 2,000 full-time and part-time employees that provide service through 7 departments. A little bit about me. I'm the operations manager for the city of Boca Raton, and I started here over 5 years ago in May of 2017. Prior to that, I worked for Groupe Danone, which was the parent company for Stonyfield Yogurt, Dannon Yogurt, and Evian Waters. I supported their information systems for their manufacturing operations across the North American manufacturing sites. But enough about me. Let's move on to the topic at hand. 10 ways to turbocharge your help desk. Some of the topics we'll be covering is minimizing user reluctance, an interesting use case, enable quicker adoption, tracking of issues and trends, improving efficiencies, workflow naming convention, automate requests for information, create tasks after approval, remote help desk experiences, improve inventory, and as a bonus, inventory tags, budgeting. So one of the first ways to minimize user reluctance is to offer some training for the end users. Even short half-hour training sessions can really, give the users confidence on how to access service catalogs, knowledge bases, etc. So one of the things is to know your audience. Make sure to keep your service catalog items simple and easy to understand, because if they don't understand what something means, chances are they're not going to use it. Don't overwhelm. So providing too much content or going too long in a training session can be counterproductive. I'd like to keep mine to half an hour to an hour at the most, depending upon the level of complexity. Keep things simple. Your audience participants are generally not computer people and can be real apprehensive about technology. So remember to keep your content understandable by your end users. I like to use examples that people can understand, like cars. When diagnosing a problem, you need to tell the mechanic what the car is or isn't doing. You can use filing cabinets to describe the folder file structures, and street addresses with house number and street name to explain email addresses. One of the interesting use cases that we have in the city is we were starting to lose track of who had air cards in our city, and if they were active or if they were inactive. So what we decided to do was we decided to build 4 service catalog items. One for activation, one for deactivation, one for transfer, and one for to record information. So if we found an air card out there that was active, we could put the information in. So I will show you examples of these, but by utilizing this method, we have reduced the charges for our SIM cards significantly. There were many cards that we were able to turn off, which saved us a monthly fee for each one. And now this process allows us to manage the approval process with our IT public safety manager. So we have one service catalog item for each type of event, like I mentioned. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to show you what those look like. So here you'll see the public safety SIM card request. It just asks for simple information, the department, and we have, our 3, whether it's fire services, police services, or public safety video, the user, what the effective date is, if this device is in Active Directory. If it's not, we have to fill in some information, but if it is, it actually comes up with the machine name, and we have a list here that's generated directly out of BOSSDesk. We add the serial number and the reason for the SIM card. We have workflows that are also behind these. So for example, this is once the ticket is created. So it assigns it sets a category and then assigns a team to it depending upon what was selected in the service request. It also requests approval and sets a watcher to it. Once the approval has been done, as you can see here, we have another workflow that goes ahead and creates the task to document that card. And then another task to go ahead and activate it. They're also recording information within those service requests. This looks very similar to the activation one, but this is when we deactivate. Some information in here. This one's a little bit different. This is the transfer SIM card request. We have a lot of the same information at the top. However, at the bottom, we have transferee information. So now we not only know where this card came from, but where it's going to. And then, like I mentioned, we have the public safety SIM card information that that if we happen to find one in a machine somewhere that we didn't know existed, we can record that information here. All right. Enable quicker adoption. You need to demystify, and that's translating terms into translating things into terms that the users will understand. IT people tend to speak in weird, arcane terms that people just don't understand. So a lot of users, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard this, do your magic. So try to take the mystery out of the equation by explaining, things in non-technical terms, like don't use CI configuration item, but maybe laptop, PC, computer box, the brains. Ease of use. You need to provide a method that doesn't force them to answer or check tons of boxes. Make things easy. Create a service catalog item with 1 or 2 fields, like category and issue, so they don't have to perform anything complicated. If the form has to be complicated, then try to simplify by using the show/hide fields for fields that are only required under specific conditions. And I will be showing an example of that coming up. Next one is rapid response. This is very important. If they realize that they're going to get faster response than by emailing their favorite IT person or calling for a routine request, they're more likely to use the system. And then one thing I take very seriously is satisfaction surveys. You really need to take action on these. Contact the person submitting the survey, whether it's good or bad, by phone and in person. This lets them know that their survey is actually being looked at and we do care about their opinion. And, and the system improves the communication between support and the end user. Tracking of issues. Tickets and ticket tags. Using ticket tags allows you to track issues related to events. For example, when we expect some impacts from tropical storms or hurricanes, we create a tag with the name of the storm and tag each ticket that is directly related to the work being done for the storm or as a result of it. This allows us to quickly identify what the impact to IT was for that particular storm. This provides us with an easy way to find information that may be needed so we can report it locally or to an outside agency. We also use this for items that are asked for during audits. For example, periodic backup and restore testing. Those are often an audit item that they want, proof that we have actually done these. Use advanced filters effectively. Using advanced filters will help you to be able to see tickets or CIs that meet your criteria, and you can also export that information into a spreadsheet where you can develop pivot tables, which allow you to slice and dice data to provide useful information. We use this along with specific categories to be able to view any uptick in events in a particular category or for a certain location. Improving efficiencies. We like to utilize hidden fields like the new user yes or no field that you'll be seeing in a minute to require certain fields. Utilize hidden fields like we have in this laserfish example. Let me pull this up. It'll be easier for you to see that way. Okay, this is our request for additional change software form. So we have some required fields, as you can see by the asterisk here. And for example, is this a new user? If it's not, this is what you say. But if it is, it actually asks you for a start date, and the start date is required. However, if it's not visible, it does not remain a required field. So what I mentioned before is keep things fairly simple. This is a long form, but it's not too overwhelming. If they require, for example, Laserfiche requirements, as you can see here, once they check the checkbox, you can have it show all the different fields that they're able to select, and they go through and select each individual, what they need, whether it's, the client or the web access, and they can put extra information here. Let's see here. So we have different fields, if you have forms that need to be attached, like a network authorization form or an AS400 authorization form, they can attach those here. You can also add links to a blank form for them. The power with BOSSDesk is the actual workflows. And the workflow behind this one is quite extensive. And it assigns it to different teams. It adds different tasks to it. And we have, we'll go into more of these later, but it adds a whole bunch of tasks, which allows us to send these tasks to different teams all at once. So we're not doing things in series anymore. We're doing them in parallel, which has really, really improved our efficiencies. One of the things that I found that really, really helps is when you name your workflows. We start by using the name of the service catalog item, then a space and a dash and a space, and then what that workflow does. This allows me to quickly find all the workflows associated with a particular service catalog item. I use this naming convention to help me know at a glance which workflow or condition I need to look at when making a change. Automate request for information. If you have a particular service catalog item, like I had mentioned before, that requires a form to be attached, you can create a workflow that actually looks to see if that form was attached. And if not, you can set up a template that will automatically send an email to the requester stating that, you forgot to attach the particular form for this request. Please reply to this email with the attachment, and it'll send it off to the requester. Create tasks after approval. I find this one fantastic because there are instances where we utilize workflows that allow us to create the task only after an approval is given. So the advantage here is the task isn't created during the ticket creation, but when the task is ready to be worked on. So after the service request is submitted, a workflow creates an approval request for a new cell phone in this case. The approval is sent to our IT director, and once she approves that, another workflow actually creates the task for the telecommunication teams and assigns it to them. The advantage here is that if it were done at ticket creation, the telecom team would see that task and have to wait for the approval to be done. If it takes a little too long, they may forget, and that would get lost unless they keep checking back. This way, they don't know about it until the approval is actually given, and then it sends a message to them that they have a task to complete. Email notifications equals better coordination. We have certain systems that aren't managed by IT. However, in order to work cooperatively with other divisions, we provide a method to notify them of requests for access to their systems. As an example, NeoGov is not maintained by IT, but by HR. So if NeoGov is requested as part of the onboarding process, a notification is sent to the the person in HR, that manages the NeoGov access, requesting access to the system for the new employee. So this person is actually not a technician, but it sends that person an email telling them that this person is requesting access. Some of the remote help desk experiences we've gone through. Private comments. There are times where you need to pass information between technicians that would overwhelm or concern end users. Utilizing private comments will provide necessary information to technicians while not being visible to end users. System access. Since we utilize the cloud version, we can access BOSSDesk from anywhere on any device. We also utilize the BOSSDesk app on iOS. This also allows us to be able to respond to tickets from wherever we may be. Inventory tools. We can quickly find end user machines and utilize remote tools to access those machines. We have Microsoft SCCM and use the remote viewer functionality. We have set it up so that we can utilize remote tools to call up the remote viewer application and pass the CI name to it. And we have an easy way to connect to the end user's machine. Knowledge base. We are able to copy the URL of the knowledge base article and use that link to provide additional support, whether in an email or in the comment of a ticket for the end user, so that they can basically learn to fish. One of the things we do to improve our inventory is we standardize on a naming convention. Windows host names are a maximum of 15 characters. And what we do is we use a 2-digit department, a 5-digit division code, a 1-digit equipment designation like D for desktop, L for laptop, T for tablet. We use a 3-digit site designation, and we use the last 4 digits of the serial number. So this allows us to be able to quickly identify and charge back the different departments and divisions for equipment that we have. We've also created pivot tables to break down the inventory into categories such as desktops, laptops, Microsoft Surface, Panasonic, Toughbooks, and iPads. I've actually added some VBA code behind the spreadsheet, and I break down the replacement CIs by location so that we can provide this list to each of our network analysts when they do their replacements. It also helps us with our yearly budgeting. And when you export a list, remember to use a filter. It'll allow you to be able to sort and charge back the departments and divisions for the hardware. And the final thing I have here is I like to, along with being able to charge back the departments and divisions, we have tagged the machines according to their data manufacturer as to when they should be replaced. We're currently on a 4-year replacement cycle. So using these tags in the spreadsheet I developed allows us to see what CIs need replacement in a particular fiscal year. So we can also, using advanced filters, be able to quickly see what CIs need to be replaced in any given year in the CMDB. So that was pretty quick, but hopefully you all have gotten something out of it. And I thank you very much for your attention. And I'll turn this presentation over to Chris Koronkowski.
All righty, thank you very much, Frank. So I'm going to be going through BOSSDesk in our demo instance here, and I'm going to be touching on some practical applications and how to implement some of the things that Frank has shown you during the demo in a live BOSSDesk instance. So I am currently sharing a BOSSDesk instance at the moment. So within our demo instance, I do want to go through a few basic items. So this is the dashboard of the BOSSDesk system. Every technician gets to build their own dashboard. And from there, you can add whatever metrics you'd like to keep track of from this list here. Where this can be useful is one of the things that Frank mentioned was that he likes to utilize tags in order to tag things that are related to like a specific wide-ranging event like a hurricane. If he's tagging his tickets with hurricane-related issues, then you can come in here and you can say, give me a widget that shows me specifically tickets with a particular tag. So you can create different widgets for that. This is, for instance, a number of tickets widget that I can say, show me the tickets that were created in a demo. If I wanted to create a tag for hurricanes, I can come in here to settings, general tags, and we can add a new ticket tag and call it hurricane issues and save that. And now that the tag is available, I can come in here to our tickets, and whenever a ticket comes in that is a hurricane issue, or if a bunch of them have come in at the same time, I can hit bulk edit and I can apply the tag hurricane issues. Then on my dashboard, if I'm keeping track of all of those hurricane issue tickets, I can come in here and I can, so you can click through those widgets as well, and it'll take you to the items. So if I call this hurricane issue tickets, and I want to filter this on the tag hurricane issues with the status open, and save that. Now I can see that there are those 3 issues that are currently the hurricane issue tickets. So that can be useful for utilizing those tags. Now, a lot of Frank's workflows in his organization revolve around the service catalog. And he did show you quite a few very well-built service catalogs on how to do some of those workflows. I do want to touch on real quick our service catalog builder, just so that you can see how easy it is to build some of those service catalog items. So I'm going to go in here to the new hire form. Within the new hire form, to edit this form or to create a new one, you get the same interface. You can upload a custom icon if you would like. You can give it a short and long description. It's just that easy. You can control the visibility of each form, meaning that you can actually set it up so that only certain departments can fill out certain forms, if that's something you want to do. Or you can make it so that only agents can fill out certain forms. And then you can set up an approval requirement, either no approval, approval from the manager, or approval from a predefined approval board. Now, additionally, with the form itself, the fields are drag and drop. So you pick what kind of fields you want, drag and drop it, and then you can choose whether the fields are mandatory or optional, whether they can be used in workflows or not, and whether they utilize conditional logic. Now, conditional logic is something that is especially helpful if you want to hide certain fields unless other options are selected. So like we've got a field here that is multi-select, and it has some additional options here. So let's make this conditional so that it's not visible unless a certain option is selected. So we're going to say, make this a conditional logic field and only show this if the workstation needed checkbox is checked. So I'm going to apply that, save it. And then if I go to the service catalog and I want to click on the new hire form, we have a few of them in here. So we can come in here, and now if I check the workstation needed box, additional fields do populate. So now in terms of building the forms, it's very easy. Now, also, we can create workflows to automatically route some of those forms where they need to go. Based on things that were selected in the form themselves. These are also very easy to build. So for example, an AS400 issue. If the service request is the new hire form and they checked the AS400 access box, then we can automatically generate this AS400 access needed subtask. It's just a matter of adding a trigger, adding a condition or set of conditions, and creating an action, in this case, adding a task. All of your workflows are actually going to be fairly simple, and they're going to be based on if-then logic, but you can create very complex workflows using very simple if-then statements. The whole basis of programming really is if-then statements. Now, you can create other workflows that aren't just triggered by the ticket creation, though. One of the things Frank did was he created a workflow that if a certain type of ticket was approved, it triggered a secondary workflow. So that's something we can do as well. So when we create a new workflow, instead of making the trigger ticket created, we can instead say approval request approved. When we do that, and we can also set some additional conditions, like we only want to do this for a service request that came from a purchasing request form, for instance. Now, this isn't going to trigger when the purchasing request form is submitted, but rather when the approval request goes through. And then the action is going to be assign it to a specific purchasing team or a hardware team, and assign it to a specific category. We can put it in a pending category until such a time as the approval happens. So we can also send out, as Frank mentioned, custom emails. And we do that by creating email templates as well. So if we go in here to the email settings templates, you can write custom emails for anything you would like. Just all you need to do is create the email subject and email body. And you can include what are called placeholders, which allow you to inject information that is contained in the ticket into the email itself. So these don't have to be completely, robotic emails that don't have any user information in them. You can actually use these placeholders to like insert the user's name and things like that, as well as information entered into the ticket. So where he mentioned he created a workflow that sends them an email if they forgot to upload a particular attachment, this is where you would do that. You would write the email here, and then you would actually go over to your workflows. And you would create a new workflow, and you would say trigger ticket created, and then you would add a condition if that particular field for uploads was not populated, then your action is going to be email requester with a particular template. One of the other things that Frank talked about was integrating remote tools like the SCCM viewer into the BOSSDesk system. That's very easy to do as well. So to do that, we would go in here to settings, remote tools, and then we just select what we're doing. I'm just going to show you how to do it with RDP. We can do it with SCCM as well, but you would need to set up the location of the sccm.exe file where it's installed on the device, and then you can pass it an argument with the asset name and whatever switches you would like to open a session to that device. Now, we also can do this with RDP, which is what a lot of people already use, and this would be the command to do it with RDP. And since this is actually part of the Windows bin, you don't actually need to specify a path to the RDP application here. It's just mstsc.exe/v and then the CI name placeholder, which will inject the CI name of the device that you're looking at. So then you can just click on a particular device and go to Tools and say, I want to open an RDP session, and click there. You will also need the BOSSDesk Assistant installed, which you can get by going to Settings, Site Agent, and then installing the Assistant. Now, you can distribute this to your technicians as needed as well. Once that's installed, you can execute those scripts directly from the browser. And then one of the last things I'd like to go over is just how easy it is to search for those once you've set up a naming convention, like Frank mentioned, setting up useful naming conventions. Once you have those in place, It's very easy to do partial string searches to search for assets that use those naming conventions. So we allow for partial text searches here. So like I want to see every asset that has the ATL prefix, which means that it is a server within the ATL office of our company. And this will show us all of the current ATL servers. And then within those servers, of course, we've got all of our hardware inventory, all of our software inventory, all of our license keys. All of that information is quickly and easily available to you. Now, one last thing. While we can use the remote tools to integrate some tools, we do also have an integration with another tool called Zapier. If you're not at all familiar with Zapier, we offer an integration, and I will show you their website real quick just so that you guys can see it. They have integrations with other tools. Let's just pull it up over here. And drop that over here. So with Zapier, you can build different zaps to integrate between BOSSDesk and other products. So that allows you to pass information back and forth between different products and trigger workflows outside of BOSSDesk itself. All right. So that is some of the basics of how to implement some of the things you've seen today within BOSSDesk itself. I am more than happy to answer any questions at this time. But first, I'm going to pass it back over to Nicole. All right. Nicole, are you there? I think you are on mute at the moment.
I am here. Thank you so much, Chris. Are you able to hear me?
We are, yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to you. That was really great information. Thanks to you, Chris. I'm sorry. Thanks to you, Chris, and thanks to you, Frank. I think we all just learned a new point of view and have a fresh perspective on utilizing BOSSDesk. Next, we have a few questions that were just submitted. Please feel free to also use this time to submit any questions you have using the Q&A box, and we'll make sure your questions get answered right away. Our first question is for you, Frank. I want you to answer this one for us. What was the biggest problem that you had to overcome when you were implementing BOSSDesk?
Well, there was a couple of issues that I had to overcome. One of them was the legacy system that was here when I first started. Funny story, when I my first day on the job, I went into the assistant IT director's office and he said, welcome aboard, by the way, we're getting rid of our old ticketing system and we're implementing BOSSDesk. He goes, that's your project now. So that was the first thing, but it was really overcoming the whole issue around users were calling their favorite IT person. So the help desk was only getting maybe 200 calls a month to those folks. And they, would send either, the end users would send either an email to their favorite IT person or whoever they thought could help them, or they would call them. So just trying to bring everybody into using, one system to get them to, report their issues. And a lot of that was through training. I had to make the system simple and I had to get the word out. So I held a series of training sessions. The more complicated ones for targeting, for like onboarding or things like that would go an hour. The other ones would go about a half an hour. And I actually went to the different sites throughout the city to make it easier for the people to attend. I contacted a lot of the managers for those areas and talked to them about what I wanted to do, basically doing a roadshow. And I put together a series of slides to show folks, this is what BOSSDesk is. This is how easy it is to use. And I got a lot of comments when I was done as to, wow, that that's easy. I can do that. And it really took the mystery out of the whole thing. And a lot of folks, who were afraid, became, more in tune with what was going on, and they responded to it really, really well.
Mhm. Excellent. That was a good breakdown. Thank you for that. The next question submitted asked, and this is coming from Tony Curtis. Thanks for joining in today. What does your network authorization form look like?
Sure, I can show you that.
Mhm.
It's a rather simplified form. We are moving away from it. It's a PDF. I'm just going to grab the screen
Yeah,
really
go
quickly.
ahead.
It's a self-filling PDF. This is essentially what it looks like. I don't know if you can see that.
We can see your screen, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So that's what it looks like. It's a real simple form. We're definitely moving it away from it and moving more towards approvals in BOSS and things like that. So it's something that we're going to get rid of eventually, because we want to eliminate a lot of this extra paperwork.
Awesome. All right, let me
Okay.
pull this back up. And let's see. The next question is, this is from Bob Gruitt. Again, thanks for joining in today.
Mhm.
He asked, I was curious as to why Frank used an approach using fewer, longer workflows rather than more shorter workflows. Neither approach is right or wrong, but I myself generally have lots of simple workflows instead of just a handful of large ones. Wondering what drove him to his particular approach.
Completely agreed. There is no right or wrong here. You can do it the way that best suits you.
Mhm.
I did it because what I did was I lumped all the easier, more generic tasks and everything together into one.
Mhm.
The one-offs. The ones that required a little more complication, I broke out. So for example, that network user form that we have, I broke that out. There's probably about 8 different workflows for that one. One of them has all the ones that don't really change very often in there. And then I broke out for like the approval for the cell phone and the task creation for the cell phone, and I broke those out. But it was just more so I could organize it in my mind, and only have to touch the ones I really needed to touch
Mhm.
more often. So there is no right or wrong answer. I mean,
Mhm.
it's really a matter of preference.
Got it. Thank you for that. Good explanation again. What's the next question we have? Again, from Tony Curtis, we have another question. Does Download Assistant need to be on all computers or just the agents?
Okay, I can take that one for
Mhm.
you. So the download assistant button, that assistant is just to convert your scripts into something that are in your BOSSDesk portal into something that can be executed on your local machine. So it only needs to be on the agent's computers. It does not need to be on the end user's computers. It's only to translate the scripts onto the computer of the person running them, not on the machine that they're running them against.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you, Chris. Sam Long submitted a question asking, can you expand upon the facilities management feature for Enterprise BOSSDesk?
Did you want me to take that, or did you want to hear more from Frank? Frank, are you currently using it for facilities within your organization?
No.
Okay. So with facilities management, essentially you can take a separate set of categories that are not the same categories that your IT department is using, and you can allot those categories for your facilities technicians. What you can then do is have it so that your viewing permissions are such that your IT department can only see their IT categories, and the facilities department can only see the facilities categories. You can then create your request forms all in a central location in the service catalog, where your users can just go to one help desk and pick what kind of issue they need, and then the workflows will work on the back end to send it to the correct department and the correct techs. From there, your facilities guys can use your ticketing system just like your IT guys in order to work their tickets and close them. There is also a mobile app that those facility techs can use so that they can take those requests with them into the field if needed.
Chris, that was awesome. That just leads us into one of our next questions, since you mentioned the mobile app. For Tony Curtis again, is iOS app available when implementing on-prem ? VPN ? as well?
So the short answer is yes. The long answer is you need to manage your own. So when you install on-prem, you are in charge of managing your own access and firewall rules, which means that if you set up the on-prem, help desk such that it is only accessible within your local subnet, then you're only going to be able to use the mobile app if your phone is on the local subnet. If it is accessible to the internet, then you will be able to use the mobile app from anywhere. Now, as to whether you can use it over a VPN, you can, but you have to make sure that your subnets are set up such that the VPN can talk to the server that you installed your on-prem application on, because sometimes your on-prem server is on a different subnet than your VPN, and they can't talk to each other.
Got it. We have another panelist on our call today, Vishu. Do you have anything to add to that question as well?
No, I'm good.
Oh, you're good with that one? Perfect. All right.
I'll chime in when it needs to be. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Next question we have listed. And keep your questions coming, you guys. These are really great questions, very helpful for everyone on the call. Does the BOSSDesk assistant need to be installed on both ends of the remote session user machines?
No, it only needs to be it only needs to be on the computer of the technician who is executing the commands, not on the device that the user has.
Got it. All right. Mike Rosa again, will BOSSDesk be releasing updated help documentation, as most of the new features are not covered in the current help documentation just yet?
So we are trying to keep up with the help documentation as much as we can. We are working towards making some videos as well on how to use some of that functionality. Now, we aren't going to create functionality for any of our, sorry, we aren't going to create documentation for any of the functionality that is in beta until it reaches its final form. However, you can schedule training with us, and our techs can create training videos with you on how to use any functionality that you feel you want to implement within your organization. So while the documents are coming for things as they are completed, we will also be offering training sessions, which may help you with those in the interim.
Very good. All right. So how about this one? Do BOSSDesk updates impact customizations? Do BOSSDesk updates impact customizations?
So do BOSSDesk updates impact custom? No.
Okay.
So when BOSSDesk is updated, it is a transparent update, meaning that you just get new features. None of your existing features are going to be affected. Now, if you're talking about migrations, which is taking one of our legacy products and migrating it into one of our modern products, which is a question that some of our users who have been using our product for years and years and have used some of our previous products asked, then we have a migration tool that will affect some of your will migrate most of your customizations. But if you've done anything really custom in the database, that's something you'll need to talk to your designated migration rep about porting over.
Very good. Okay. Vidari de Guzman, thanks for joining in today. The question submitted is, for cloud-based hosting, how can our data stay HIPAA compliant? What data predictions are in place initially, and how can it be configured?
Okay, so that is a question about HIPAA compliance. So while we do encrypt our data at rest in the cloud, the cloud version of BOSSDesk currently is not HIPAA compliant. The on-prem version of BOSSDesk is HIPAA compliant. In terms of HIPAA compliance, the main issue is that when we deploy updates in the cloud, technically speaking, there is a point where we have a single DBA who would then have access to the database, and that breaks HIPAA compliance. When you are managing it on-prem, we never have access to your data or database if you don't want us to, so that becomes completely HIPAA compliant.
Got it. All right, let's see what other questions we have here. From Sam Wong, the question is the ticket number format and next sequence going to follow the same as help desk ticketing system? Is the ticket number format and next sequence going to follow the same as help desk ticketing system? Do you have an answer for that?
The ticket number format and next sequence. I'm not sure I understand.
Don't follow. That's fine. Sam, we're just going to ask you if you want to shoot us an email and kind of break down that question a little bit further. We'll make sure that you get your response as well. If there are any panelists on the call that would like to chime in, if you have any feedback, please feel free to do so as well. All right. So from Mike Rosa, the question listed next is, in the mobile app, is there a way to upload a picture from within the app? Currently, we have to take a picture from a mobile device, download it to our PC, then upload it into BOSS. Are there any updates there? Any new info?
I think we had an update on that. Vishu.
Yeah, actually, I can answer that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. We are making a change in a mobile app where you'll be able to upload an attachments right from your camera. Okay, so that's coming.
Okay.
So we'll have that functionality available on our mobile app.
Very good. All right. I don't think we answered this one yet. Standard question: do BOSSDesk updates impact customizations?
No, it does not. We make sure that none of your customization breaks, and when we implement something, we make sure that we don't break existing functionality or existing customization. So, yeah, does not affect any customizations.
Yeah, and if I can chime in, I have a lot in my system, and I have no issues.
Very good. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? From Tony again. Can you restrict access to specific ticket tags based on Teams membership?
So with access restriction is based purely on categories. So you can't restrict access to certain tags, but you can restrict access to certain categories. It's just a matter of how you're classifying your tickets.
Okay, got it. Daniel, thanks for joining in today. Daniel's question is, are there any plans to add more functionality to the UX to enable agents to quickly mark tasks as complete? As it currently stands, you have to edit, then hit save and close to mark as a task as complete. You also can't copy or duplicate the task.
Yeah, I can take that. So marking a task as complete in a one-click thing. So there is like a couple of things we kind of like decide to do it, then we decided not to do it because it saves only even if you it's only one click right now. So there is no added benefit of like simplifying it. So that's the reason we did not do it. On the other thing, like the copy or duplicate, definitely put in a feature request. If enough customer asks for that feature, we can definitely look into that.
Very good. Awesome. All right. Eric Montgomery asks, is there any point of contact or contacts that we can reach out to for further assistance while attempting to streamline our BOSSDesk experience?
I can take that one. So if you have BOSSDesk already, you may or may not know that in the top right-hand corner of your BOSSDesk product is a contact support button. You can put in a support request that is basically a request for training in a specific area of BOSSDesk or generalized training. Just put that in as a support request within your BOSSDesk system. It'll go into our ticketing system, and one of our techs will reach out to you to schedule that training.
Mhm. Very good. I forget who submitted this question, but I think this may relate to a few people, especially if you may be logged in a few minutes late today. The question was, will the slide deck be available after the call? So I want everybody to note that this recording will be available on our YouTube channel and on our website under the resources tab. So give us just a few to work on that, and you all will be able to access that in just a short while. Let's see, if you have any other questions, feel free to submit those at this time. Frank, I want to jump back over to you for a question here. How long did it take to implement everything in total, everything that you've shown us today during the webinar?
Okay, I am a bit specific about a lot of things. So, one of the things I did was when I first started this, I'm a big spreadsheet guy. I love spreadsheets. So I developed a spreadsheet for each of the areas that I wanted to configure. So it helped me to understand the interrelationship between categories, teams, things like that. So when I actually went to go and configure the live system, I had an understanding of, if I added this here, it changed this over here. And it took me quite a while. And like I said, when I first started with the city, it was just dumped on me. So I had to actually learn the existing ticketing system, which was terrible, and how things worked in the city. And then I could develop, and translate that into BOSSDesk. It took me, and I took my time, and there was no rush in doing it, but I spent probably 3 months of talking here and there to people and doing my regular job outside of that piece. So I took a long time doing it. It can be done quickly. I mean, you can have a system up and running in no time flat.
Yeah.
But I wanted to think things through, learn how everything worked, the nuts and bolts, and so it took me a little bit more time.
And to have it done well, not quickly.
Yes, yes.
Very good. Now, Frank, do you have any future plans to achieve any other improvements or expanding BOSSDesk any further across the company?
I always look for improvement opportunities. Yeah, when the little notification up in the corner that there are new updates available and stuff like that, I always look for those. It's like Christmas,
Right.
But yeah, I do. We're expanding in our public safety area. We actually, our Project Radio folks in PD have their own instance that they're using to log repairs and requests for reports and things like that, so they can have their own system. They're using that, but I'm still working on improving our onboarding system, our onboarding process. And I really like to push to be at the leading edge. I have other managers coming to me now asking me, hey, can we do this in this system? And I'll say, yeah, we can also do this. And and they're really excited about the whole thing.
Excellent. Excellent. I think was there another question or more feedback?
Yeah. Chris, do you want to quickly, we're running out of time. Can you quickly show the facilities management facilities from a facilities point of view?
I'm not sure I have all of that pulled
Okay.
up at the
This
moment.
question is the question from Sam Wong. Sam, if you have like any specific questions regarding, we'll be more than happy to jump on a call with you to show you around. Okay. Let us know when a good time, and we'll jump on a call and explain the facilities and cover your questions.
We just got one other question that popped in, you guys. This is from Daniel again, and I'm just going to read it out. He says, I wanted to provide more context to Sam Wong's question regarding ticket prefix and numbering scheme. Assuming the teams have separate ticket queues, from my understanding, there isn't a way of creating separate ticket types per team or ticket queues. Does BOSSDesk allow for separate ticket types for each team?
So they all have access to the same ticket types in terms of applying them to tickets. In terms of visibility and ticket queues, we like to say that they have separate ticket queues because you have a set of categories that one of them has access to, and you have a set of categories that the other one has access to, and there is no overlap if you don't want there to be. In terms of the visibility of the tickets themselves. Now, in terms of the numbering scheme, they will still use the same. Numbering seed, so the numbers will not be separate between the facilities and the IT, but they should still be meaningful in terms of it'll give you context of what type of issue it is, and it will still be higher than the ticket before it.
Very good. Frank, I do want to jump back to you really quick. Can you tell us quickly how management reacted to the change that you implemented?
I'm sorry, what was the last part of that question?
Can you tell us how management reacted to the changes that you implemented there in Boca Raton?
Some of them were very accepting, but we also had some that were not computer savvy. And it was basically they hate computers, they want nothing to do with them and everything else. But through training and working with them and showing them that they're not only is what they request, going to get done, but get done quickly, they started to come around and they saw how easily they can enter a ticket and get a quick response. So a lot of it has to do with getting the buy-in by making sure you're proactive and you're reaching out to them and you're addressing their issues.
Sure.
Because once you start addressing their issues, then they start to come around.
That makes sense. Awesome. All right. That was great information, you guys. I know we covered quite a large ground there, and I appreciate the details and your patience. We would now like to announce the winner of our $50 Amazon gift cards. And let's go ahead and dig this through. Let's see. The winner, or the first winner that we have on our call today, is Miss Peggy Sousa from the city of Kissimmee. Congratulations, Peggy. Let's see. Let me make sure you guys are able to see my screen here. Are we back up?
We are.
The gift card winner. Congratulations, Peggy Sousa. You are the winner of our first $50 Amazon gift card. We're going to give out one other gift card on the call today. So that lucky winner is Sam Wong. Congratulations, Sam from the city of Pomona. Congratulations to you both. We hope that you use those gift cards on something special for yourselves. Our entire BOSS team would like to thank our speakers, Frank Santiago and Chris Karankowski, and each and every single one of our guests who've joined in today. Thank you all for the wonderful questions that you submitted along the way. We invite you to contact us with any additional questions that you have. And please respond to our survey with your feedback about today's webinar. Thank you all again for your attendance. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope that you also enjoy the rest of your day.